What's going on, everyone? Brandon Miranda here, Grammy-nominated mixing engineer and record producer. I've had the pleasure to work on amazing records and artists including Diddy, Her, Coco Jones, and many more. And my music has been licensed on networks including Netflix, Paramount Plus, and BET. And it is my purpose and directive with this channel to help other musicians and producers gain clarity and confidence in navigating the music industry. In this video, I wanted to share about my process and journey of how I became a professional doing what I love in the music industry. On top of that, the industry has transformed in the last 2 to 4 years. So make sure to stay till the end of the video where I share a few tips on what I would do if I was starting today or had to go back and do the whole process over and better this time. Your time is precious and I don't want to waste any more of it, so let's get started. So my story started when I was 12 years old and I became fascinated with playing the guitar. But a big shift in my interest happened when I got to see the process of recording my first album. I was fascinated with how the engineers and producers got to bridge technical with creative, and I immediately knew this is the route and direction that I want to go for my career. Now the problem was, and I was very well aware of it, I was not good at music. So much so, it was almost like I had a deficiency. I struggled with pitch and tonality, and I really struggled with keeping time. In fact, I remember I was playing for a church band, and a mentor of mine told me, if you can't figure out how to just play to the metronome, I don't know if I have hope for you in your music careers and your ambitions. But there was a drive, one, probably to prove people wrong, and two, just knowing I inherently loved the craft of music itself that kept me to push and focus. And being the one who was always coming in third place in guitar competitions and bands and stuff, I knew that I was gonna have to work a little bit harder than a lot of my other friends where the talent seemed to gravitate to them naturally. So all throughout high school and college, I put in the extra hours, extra work with the metronome, extra work with performance, extra work with learning software, extra everything. I honestly really, while I was in school, shut out a lot of social time, and I remember working Sunday through Sunday. I was either practicing for the band, creating my own music, or teaching guitar lessons. When I had graduated from college, I did a little bit of extra hustling and a little bit of networking, and I landed a great day job working for Cascade's manager. And while it wasn't exactly what I wanted for my first job in the music industry, I knew that if I applied myself, they were very well connected in the studio space, and they could be my in and recommendation to getting my first studio gig. So with that internship, I grinded. And listen, it was stuff I was completely uninterested in, like social media, updating calendars, but I knew, give it my all. And that resulted in my supervisor at the time to send out my resume to the publishers and solidified my first interview and gig working in a professional studio environment. So in 2017, I started working for Lovie Elias Langomba, who at then was a massive Grammy-nominated producer and songwriter. Now, in that interviewing process, it was not smooth. I drove up, was 1 hour late, I sat down, played him some music, and I promise you, I could tell all by his body language, it was trash. He said to me, Brandon, all of that music theory and practice and skills that you learn is good things, but if you're making music only from that basis, it is never gonna reach people or touch people. People aren't interested in how much you know, they're interested in how you make them feel. And he literally told me, all that stuff you learned in the last 4 to 8 years in high school and college, you need to forget it for now and learn how to make people feel. So I'm not gonna front. It made me feel like all that time was wasted on hard work, but I knew within me this is the right space and the right person to learn from, because when a mentor is honest with you like that, that is a gem you need to keep in your life. So every day for about 4 years, I would go to my day job at the management agency and then head over to Lovie's studio to learn and study and help support him in his music. Now, while working for Lovie, it established me creatively and technically. My mixes were sounding better, my music was starting to get to a point where there was feeling and expression, and I started to notice my music go from that space of people liking it just because they're my friends and family to actually demanding, commanding people's attention and emotional state. That's when I knew that the training is starting to pay off. But now that I have that side mastered, it's time to figure out how to get the music in front of people. And one of the best skills that I developed in my training that I knew would help open the doors to building new relationships was vocal engineering. Everyone needed them, most people would pay for them, and there was always demand for people who were talented, fast, and knew how to make their vocals sound good. So I knew that and teaching were my routes to growing in the music industry. That phase of my life and career, I learned all about hustle and consistency. I still had to work a day job and found myself living in OC, working for my family's company in commercial real estate. Then with whatever after hours time I had, I was either in the studio making beats or taking sessions recording artists. This was probably the most trying time in my career because I knew what I had was great, but I was learning how to navigate connecting my talent to also financial stability and well-being. And when I look back, this is the time when you have to have the most patience because your body and your mind will be weary. And if you don't have credits at this stage of your career, but you do have talent, it is hard to command and demonstrate your value unless you have the skills to back it. But I knew what to do, and I knew if I kept laying seeds with the right people and the right relationships, it would open the door. And that's actually exactly what happened to my first breakthrough gig. Now, in 2020, I had a great random call from a friend of mine who's trying to connect me to an artist producer. She was a producer for the TV series Making the Band. And there was an artist on that roster that she wanted to develop, yet she needed a great engineer to help her cut all the recordings. So I was recommended, I took the chance, drove up to LA, loved the sessions, and just with the sheer passion for the artist and the producer, I went ahead and put a lot of time at discount for that session. Now what I didn't know and understand that one of the people who was circulating in the rooms was on the path to becoming one of Diddy's main A&Rs. And when after I was done with those sessions, no other future work really came out of it until a year later when that individual finally secured his role for the Love Records team. He was needing an engineer and we sought me out to become one of the lead engineers for their team. And that was my moment, going from absolutely nothing, working the day job, 0 credits, to then boom, finding myself in the room with great artists. I'm talking about top of the top. And that's when I saw the shift and I realized, okay, we are on the path, the work is paying off, the practice time with Pro Tools and Ableton is paying off, the practice time analyzing music, all of that work is starting to pay off, and most importantly, the practice in building relationships is starting to display fruit within my life and my career. Now, most people would stop here, but I know and always know that the more that grows in my career, the harder and honestly more efficient and effective I should work. I continue to build relationships after relationships after relationships. I continue to write as many records as I possibly can, collaborate with artists, and even teach more and create more content around my career and passion for music. And in 2023, everything started to kind of plateau, especially with the writer's strike, affecting not just the film industry, but also the music side of the film industry. Now come 2023, my now wife and I got engaged, and that even sparked more drive for me to be more effective and more industrious within my career. I started to go through my phone book more often. I started to realize the value of maintaining and nurturing my relationships. Where I had struggled in the past, if someone wasn't right in front of me, I knew there's something here that I need to continue to reach and touch the people who even if we're not seeing each other face to face every single day. You know, a week after our wedding in April of 2024, we got back from our honeymoon. I get a phone call for now my biggest gig yet at Ethika Music Group. My mentor and employer called me and asked, hey, how would you like to move back to Orange County where you grew up and become one of our in-house music producers and audio engineers? You'll be paid a salary, no advance, so you don't need to owe anything to anyone, signing a ton of new acts with a desire to really break them into mainstream music. I couldn't say no. And that is where we are here today, working a job that I absolutely love and cherish, and being able to build something alongside a team of wildly talented producers, engineers, and artists. So that's my story. The biggest thing that I can attribute the growth of my career to is 3 things. 1, being excellent at what I do and continuously becoming a student of the craft. Knowing that I will always have space to grow, knowing that there will always be people around me who are more gifted or more experienced, but to not compete with them, but to always try to learn from them. And understanding that I always need to be studying the trends of music and how they impact people's psychology, because music is not about how much you can impress someone with your mixes or your talent or how well you sing, but it's about how you make that person feel. The other component that is so valuable to your success in your career is your network, and being wise about who you choose to work with, whether they're trustworthy, you see them going somewhere, and you can rely upon them, and being unafraid to take a chance on new talent, to stay committed to growing talent, and to push yourself and reach out to the people who are well ahead of your careers, because you never know when someone might be that exact door that will open your destiny for you. 3, this final component, is belief in yourself. And my journey wasn't perfect in believing in myself, but I found that the more I meditated and visualized upon what is mine in life, the more I embodied that confidence that I needed to navigate the music industry. It gave me the strength to take risks, it gave me the strength to speak up when I needed to, and it gave me the strength to walk into rooms that I was very unqualified to walk into. Now, the music industry is always changing and it's always shifting. And I would be a poor mentor if I said the way I did it is relevant and can work for you today, especially in the midst and context of huge shifts and change with music technology. So I want to arm you guys with 3 very practical tools of what I would do today if your desire is to become a professional within the music industry. Number 1, learn to embrace new technology, especially AI. I know how some people feel about it, but progress and technology don't care about your feelings. You can either complain about how things are changing, or you can start to utilize it to better your career. So you can best embrace new technology by learning how to become an expert at it before everyone else does, and then find the things that the technology doesn't do well and be a solution for exactly that. For instance, it is so simple and easy to make a full song with AI now, but the technology hasn't really gotten there yet in terms of the quality of mixes and vocals. So although the quality will likely catch up to at some point, master the technology and then figure out how to outpace it by focusing on being a great vocal engineer and a great mixer. And with that kind of mentality, you'll never run out of work. Number 2, network, and network. Now, people do this very wrongly, where they're just looking at other individuals as numbers and they're trying to talk to as many people as you can. And I stress this, do not overpromise and underdeliver. The music industry is very small, and if you start to build up a record of talking too much but not following up on your promises, you will build that reputation and will get in the way of your future opportunities. So I always encourage people, for every quarter, pick 5 people in 3 different categories. People who are at the top of the industry, people who are at your level, and people that you could actually help out. And build and develop relationships with them where you can consistently either learn from them, do good work for them, or help teach them. And of course, you'll be able to add people on, or some people will move out, but do not take on more phone calls or emails or relationships than you can manage with the time that you have. You absolutely never want to burn a bridge, and you don't want to leave a good opportunity cold because you're not responsive, forget to respond, or you don't have the time to respond or create enough music for that relationship. The depth of your network in the music industry is just as important as the width of it. And number 3, figure out creative ways to monetize your music. I can't tell you how many artists I've seen that have millions of followers yet make no income from it. And it makes no sense to me. There's so many other business people that are making 6 figures just having 10,000 followers on their LinkedIn. When artists fail to monetize the brand that they've built, then they're doing disservice to their fans because they are lacking the financial backing to leave their jobs or invest in their music creation and their marketing. So I always encourage you, whether it's through merch sales, whether it's through teaching courses, whether it's by charging for shows or doing your own live streams, figure out creative ways that you can earn a living from your following. And this leads me into a bonus tip. Build a brand around what you love to do. Of course, everyone would love to make music behind closed doors and send it out online and go viral. And if that's what you feel comfortable with in your full desire, then go for that. But the bread always goes to the people that are willing to do what everyone else isn't. Lay seeds that build value, so when you have your first record meeting, so when you find yourself negotiating your first contract or record deal or brand partnership, whatever it is, that you will be the one with a greater negotiating power. It may feel like a ton of work in the very beginning, but I promise you, when it pays off, it pays off. So I hope my story and these tips and tricks benefited you, gave you more security and clarity and confidence in navigating your music career and your dreams. Please like and support this video, comment on it, subscribe to my page, because that pushes this video so more and more people can get access to these tools. Also, if you want to go in deeper, I have a Discord group that you can subscribe to via my Patreon, where we do regular Zoom calls where I go over music feedback, guidance, and career advice. I definitely encourage you to make the investment and sign up for it, because having access to deeper mentorship is always so key and beneficial for your growth. Thank you guys again, Brandon Miranda, and I'm out.